show which I greatly appreciate gets overlooked, misunderstood, or generally misjudged. I feel compelled to shed some light on the subject and hopefully draw some more attention to a series that I believe is not nearly talked about enough. With the season tying up, and literally every other anime YouTuber busy ranting about how A Place Further in the Universe is the most underrated anime of the season, which by all means is also a fantastic show you should all check out. Let us go ahead and indulge in the true hidden gem of the winter 2018. Koi wa Ameagari no Yoni, or Love is Like After the Rain. Just remember, my opinions are just as valuable as yours, so let's try and have some fun, shall we? I'm a little reluctant to label Love is Like After the Rain as a romance anime, at least not in the traditional sense. Ironic, considering love is literally in the title of the goddamn show. This anime's concept goes into an intricate and quite frankly unconventional relationship between our two main characters of the story, Tachibana Akira, a 17-year-old high school student, and Kondo Masami, a 45-year-old restaurant manager. Now, I know what you're thinking. Isn't that sort of creepy? And I can't blame you for thinking that way, as that was honestly my first impression as well. I approached this series with a certain trepidation. After all, so many things can go wrong if you lack tact when addressing such a thorny subject. However, I was honestly surprised by how lukewarm the romantic aspect of this series ended up being. But then, I hear you ask, what exactly is the point of this series then, if you haven't already been turned off by the show's contentious premise, and stayed to see a genuine, passionate age gap romance, only to be let down there as well? Then what exactly is the point? Well, you see, Love is Like After the Rain, above everything else, is a character study, a story about how two people overcome feelings of loss and stagnation. In a certain way, I felt like the viewing experience of Love is Like After the Rain was strangely bittersweet and poignant, in the slow burn type of way. Despite not being rife with your melodramatic, not enough tissues for this shit scenes from most of your typical cry porn anime, this show opts to move the viewer with its more quiet, personal portrayals of her characters' struggles. Tachibana and Kondo, while initially appearing to be two very different people, are tied together by their mutual longing for something that seems out of reach. Because of this, they find comfort in each other's company, eventually completing one another and paving each other's paths to move forward. Tachibana, while initially seeming like your typical moody teen, actually used to be the track star of her school. She gets a genuine kick out of running, something she loved to do ever since she was a kid. However, an unfortunate injury put a halt on her passion. She slowly drifts apart from her former friends and colleagues, as the only thing that tethered her to them is now gone. After losing such a huge part of herself, she delves deeper into despondency. Kondo, for lack of a better term, is sort of experiencing a midlife crisis. As you do when you're 45, Kondo believes himself a failure in every way. He is single, divorced, with a son whom, while he cares deeply about, only gets to see occasionally. But what brings him the most distress is his long-term passion for books, something that caused his family to fall apart in his blind pursuit of becoming a novelist. He comes to terms with the fact that he neither has the time nor even the right to pursue his dream. In the end, he decides to settle. What Tachibana sees in Kondo is someone who will shelter her from the harsh reality of the outside world. While many see the man as spineless, weak, and pitiable, she sees a man that is kind and sensitive to others' emotions. Through her interactions and observations of Kondo after becoming employed as a waitress, she becomes more and more drawn to him. To Tachibana, the love she feels for Kondo is what keeps her going, escaping from the troubles and pain of her current sad condition, to latch on to these feelings that she knows, to some extent, might end up being unrequited. Kondo, on the other hand, sees in Tachibana a radiating youthfulness that he had long lost, and can possibly never regain. He looks longingly at Tachibana as a representation of the endless possibilities for the future, a flower that has yet to bloom. When by her side, Kondo is swept away by all the youthful emotions of passion and candor that he thought he no longer had. However, he remains hesitant in pursuing a romantic relationship with Tachibana, and retains a respectful distance from her due to social expectations and what he believes is for Tachibana's own good. To Tachibana, Kondo is her umbrella and escape from the devastating storm that is the real world, providing her with much-needed shelter and solace. While to Kondo, Tachibana is a rainstorm that wakes him, a typhoon that brings him to his feet and forces him to walk out of his harbor of resignation and passivity. I believe that one of the most important aspects of a show is its presentation, which is most aptly communicated through its directing, visuals, and sound design. All of these elements have to mesh well to create a show that, for lack of a better term, feels right. And in addition, a show with a distinguished tone will last in the viewer's memory, playing a key role in the creation of a central narrative. For me, you can have the most intriguing out there premise in the world, but if the presentation's unable to captivate due to its lack of creativity or congruity, you have failed. What is possibly more important than the appeal of the presentation itself is how well it manages to mesh with the show's overall themes and messages. In that regard, Love Is Like After the Rain has a lot of things on its plate. To say the least, the margin of error is quite big. But to the very end, the show just keeps surprising me with how well it manages to stick its landing. If there is one word I can use to describe Love Is Like After the Rain, it would be elegant. Alright, before you click off, allow me to explain. To delve into the art of After the Rain could be dedicated to a whole other video in itself. This show sports a style that I believe is refreshing to say the least. The mood that the show is trying to instill is one of melancholy and wistfulness, carefully interwoven between more comedic, lighthearted moments. To start off, we have to talk about the character designs, which definitely pay homage to the retro age of anime, with its characters' sharp and elongated features and large, intense eyes, making it stand out in the oversaturation of softer, moe styles of most of today's romance slice-of-life shows. Two character designs that I want to examine are our main leads. Tachibana's design is interesting in how simple, yet wickedly effective it is at displaying her personality without tarnishing her individuality from the seas of quiet, reserved anime schoolgirls out there. Her reflective, almond-shaped eyes are definitely her most striking features, and her characteristically glassy glare also plays up her straightforward nature. Her overall slender figure makes her appear delicate, pure, and ephemeral, possibly reflecting how Kondo sees her as well. Kondo's design is similarly brilliant. Older men in anime are of a peculiar species, as most are portrayed as either bodybuilder badasses or obviously unattractive creepers. What makes Kondo's design interesting is his ordinary, fatherly appearance. This is greatly complemented with his tall yet unintimidating build and mellow expressions. His sharp, slightly gaunt features and wrinkles around his eyes also communicate that he is, in fact, a middle-aged man, but these traits don't go so far as to detract from his overall appeal. Another aspect of the visuals I like to highlight is the cinematography. The show is excellent at setting a tone of a scene through its incredibly detailed art of city landscapes, a true tribute to the works of Makoto Shinkai, who you might know as the creator of Your Name. The use of color in the show is also quite prominent, either opting for warmer hues to create a sense of comfort and nostalgia, or cooler hues to depict more downcast emotions, to reflect the feelings of Tachibana's awe for Kondo, as well as the emotions that come with first love. This show sometimes overlays a scene with the soft rose tints with glowing lights in the back in the shape of iridescent bubbles, excellently portraying Tachibana's rose-colored lenses of the world when looking at Kondo, as well as her suppressed feelings bubbling up to the surface. This, I believe, could have been overabused to the point of feeling cheap and tacky, but the show uses it sparingly enough to make these moments instead feel more memorable. Sometimes the show employs the classic watercolor texture to bring a scene to life, creating an almost dreamlike sensation that also serves expertly as a narrative device. When it's done well in a show, it is quite breathtaking. To quickly touch upon the directing of this anime, all I have to say is that this is one of the very few times where I've been outright impressed by the amount of extra detail incorporated into certain scenes to inject subtle cues to a character's inner thoughts. Subtlety in directing is something that I believe the anime as a whole sorely lacks, and I think After the Rain is at least nudging us closer into the right direction. One of my favorite scenes is one of Tachibana visiting Kondo's house with his son, and what she does next after entering the door. The director of this show, Ayumi Watanabe, has worked on other works prior to After the Rain, such as the Doraemon movies, and most notably, Space Brothers, which I have not checked out yet, but I'm definitely interested in watching now. He's quite underrated as a director, but I believe he can finally get his chance in the limelight with his contributions to this particular show's overall quality. In addition to the several top-notch visual aspects I've mentioned, I commend shows with a strong musical score, as it is an integral part of heightening the emotions and impact of certain scenes. After the Rain's background soundtrack may appear low-key at first, but adds a surprising amount of weight to the overall tone of the show, blending simple yet exquisite piano and orchestral pieces that fit effortlessly within each scene without feeling overwhelming or out of place. The track that I've been playing in the background, Dear Akira, is one of my favorites and can be considered as the main theme of the show. Moving on to the opening of the series, Nostalgic Rainfall by Honeyworks is bursting at the seams with a melodic energy boosted by Chico's equally dynamic and infectious vocal performance. Listening to this opening never fails to bring a smile to my face, as the song's upbeat lyrical composition meshes perfectly in sync with the poppy visual animation, encapsulating Tachibana's optimism in being with Kondo. However, this opening is not just rife with a rousing central act. His instrumental accompaniment is nothing short of masterful. The ending, on the other hand, is a whole nother beast of its own. While the opening delivers on portraying the sugar-sweet butterflies in your stomach feelings of first love, the closing song, Refrain, does not refrain, see what I did there, on making you feel Aimer, an artist and vocalist that I'm personally a big fan of, is an ideal fit with her tremulous, almost velvety voice to deliver such a moving performance. It is a song that captures the very essence of the show itself, the feelings of despondency, of longing, and the bittersweet. It is the type of song to listen to walking outside on a rainy day, when all you want to do is close your umbrella and let the rain wash over you. Stepping out of the show's technical brilliance for a sec, I need to touch on After the Rain's incredible use of literary and symbolic analogy in relation to its central themes. Symbolism within the series is less subtle, but is nonetheless extremely effective at highlighting the story's identity as a contemplative character piece. Despite his seemingly easygoing and frivolous nature, Kondo is quite the literary critic and analyst who is fittingly well-spoken and eloquent with his words when he needs to be. Throughout various points in the show, he becomes our central narrator, and sometimes the insights he spouts just makes me go like, damn, That's hella deep. The way the show goes about in integrating these moments of almost poetic profundity was by no means pretentious or ham-fisted, but actually an intrinsic tool in moving the narrative forward and giving the viewer a deeper understanding of its characters. What is more interesting is that the more you look into and peel through the layers of these metaphors, the more you can discover how brilliantly it all ties to its characters and their respective inner turmoils in a very indirect yet meaningful way. Also, it makes you feel smart. Love is Like After the Rain may not be everyone's cup of tea, as it does not have the same broad level appeal as many of the more generic high school romance anime that are out there. However, to me, what After the Rain represents is much more important. It is a show that doesn't stand for the vapid cliches and tropes of anime, and strives to break its viewers out of their comfort zones to experience something different, something more heartfelt, reflective, and deeply personal, while boasting an incredible presentation to truly get you immersed in the moment. And I wish that more shows would follow in these footsteps. After the Rain is a story that drives a central conceit with its nuanced characters, and enjoys taking its time to get us into the minds of a resigned high school track star and a dejected single father. Even though nothing in the world is certain for the both of them, their conflicted, sometimes vague, yet ultimately genuine feelings for each other is what moves them forward. In the end, the only thing we can be certain of is that after the rain, there's sure to be clear skies. Hey guys, Caligino here. This is my first attempt in making an anime analysis, review, or whatever you call it, for a show that touched me personally, and I believe more people should check out. I mean, if no other anime YouTuber is going to talk about it, someone has to, right? Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. A huge thanks to everyone who supported me up to this point, and my friend Alison for editing the script, as well as dealing with my BS. Subscribe if you like what you saw, and until next time.